Welcome everyone to Managing Expenses with QuickBooks Apps. Today we will be featuring Neat, Receipt Bank, and Expensify. This webinar is sponsored by apps.com and brought to you by Intuit Academy. My name is Kaydee Peterson. I'm an advanced certified QuickBooks ProAdvisor and co-author of the QuickBooks Online Certification Materials and Exam. I'm also a member of the Intuit Trainer Writer Network, which allows me to go around and help train other accounting professionals on QuickBooks stuff like this. My business is located in Vancouver, Washington. That's in the Portland metro area, right by Oregon, the beautiful Pacific Northwest. And we specialize in business process streamlining, industry-specific solutions, and training for our clients to do stuff. We also do outsourced accounting, bookkeeping, and developer consulting. A little side note, I am also an avid hula hooper, my one form of exercise. All right, so if you have not yet downloaded the course materials for today, there's a link in the questions pane there with a hightail link where you can download a PDF of the PowerPoint deck that we're going over today. Sorry, I lost my words there for a second. It'll also be available to you. It should have been available in the email that you received to log into today's webinar, and then after the webinar, within I think 48 to 72 hours, you'll receive an email that has a survey about the webinar as well as a link to the recorded webinar. Our course today is eligible for 1 CPE credit. In order to receive your CPE credit, you must stay for the entire webinar. We will provide a CPE keyword during the webinar that you will write down on a Post-it or remember in your head if you have that type of skill. And then at the end of the webinar, we'll put up a poll that will allow you to select the CPE keyword from a list. And just to get us all acquainted with what that looks like and to kick off today, I'm going to put one up right now. So here is a poll on your screen. How many of your clients, or what percentage of your clients rather, are using QuickBooks Online? So if you can just choose your answer from the list there, this will kind of give us an idea of what we have for the audience today. And it's just moving right along. The bars are moving as people submit their answers. It looks like about half have under 20% on QuickBooks Online. We've got about a quarter that have 80% or more on QuickBooks Online. And then we've got about 20% that are between 20 and 50, and a handful that don't have any clients on QuickBooks Online yet. So today when we talk about these apps, we are going to be focusing on their integrations with QuickBooks Online. You might see some of these apps have integrations with desktop or other accounting software, but our big focus today is the QuickBooks Online App Center and how these apps function, and then of course how they integrate with QuickBooks Online. For learning objectives, we want to know how to find the apps that we need in apps.com, and also utilizing the functionality in each of the apps that we're profiling today. And then, of course, the end goal is identifying which of your clients or the types of clients would benefit from these apps. So what is an app? There's always a chance that we have folks on the line today that haven't used apps before. So when we're talking about apps with QuickBooks, we're talking about third-party applications that are designed to do a task or complete a task that maybe QuickBooks Online doesn't do, or maybe it's something that QuickBooks Online does do, but you want it done in a separate system so that the people that are assigned that task don't have access to the full accounting platform. So the data generally integrates. Sometimes they have a one-way sync, which is just from the app back to QuickBooks, or from QuickBooks to the app. Sometimes it's two-way, meaning information goes back and forth, and sometimes it's a combination of all of those things depending on the information. So some apps are add-ons, like what we're looking at today. These expense apps are things that we can hook up to QuickBooks to help us manage expenses and documents in different ways. And then there's other types of apps that are full management platforms for different types of businesses, which you can learn more about in other apps.com webinars or from apps.com. So I just touched on this a little bit. Why would you use an app? For us, one of the biggest reasons that we implement apps is to keep people out of messing up their books. So we like to put our clients on apps where they can do that one function that they need to do, or the members of the team can do that one function like recording expenses in the context of today's content. And we don't necessarily have to give those team members access to the accounting system. So we're really able to control those permissions by utilizing those third-party apps. What's really awesome about QuickBooks Online is because of their open APIs, our whole world of applications has expanded because it's really easy for software developers to come up with something awesome and get it plugged into QuickBooks Online. The apps team at Intuit, the development team, is really good at working with these third-party developers to make sure that everything's clean. Our apps on apps.com are vetted by Intuit, so these things have been tested, they're tried and true, and they really go through that vetting process for us. So that's pretty cool. If you're not familiar with apps.com, it can be accessed in two ways. You can either just go to apps.com and check out apps, or you can access it through QuickBooks Online, which I'll show you as we go through today. So they've updated the way that the website looks. If you haven't been there for a while, go in and check it out. You can see that we've got all kinds of cool specials and information that go across the top banner. So if they ever have any apps doing an awesome promotion, those usually will go up there. And then you can browse through all of these apps. And they just added this awesome bar here with these green squares where you can look at apps that are recommended by different business types, which is really nice because there's so many out there. Sometimes it can be overwhelming to search. And then they also have those smaller bars that you can flip through for different types of apps. All right, so every app has what's called an app card. So when you click on an app, it's got all this different information about it. You've got reviews. So there are people that literally test out apps and write reviews. And you've also got reviews from other users, people that have signed up, what they liked, what they didn't like, how it compares to other things. You've got videos and screenshots and images from the app developers themselves, as well as additional information, articles, tips, whatever, all that stuff can go in here. They also have their pricing information in there, which is really cool. And let's just flip into the App Center in QBL. So this is from QuickBooks Online. If we go to the left side navigation and click on Apps, right here at the bottom, we have that quick link into the App Center, which will allow us to look at these different app cards and see their information. So right here we've got Neat featured on here, which is one that we're looking at today. So I'll just click on Learn More. And then that will take me into the app card where I've got the information supplied by the app itself, as well as the reviews from other ProAdvisors. And I've got so many things open on my computer to show you right now that my internet's bogged down a little. Sorry about that. So here you can see we've got videos and screenshots. We've got this tab for the different reviews that people have put on here. Now, a little suggestion, if you are already using apps, it's very beneficial to the community for you to go on here and leave a review for everybody else. Also, be detailed with these so that your review is valuable to other people. And then, of course, that pricing information is right here, as well as support. Now, if you decide that you want to buy an app, it's as simple as clicking on this Get App Now, and you can connect with your Intuit ID. Pretty cool. So I'm going to click out of that and go back into our PowerPoint slides over here. So today we're talking about expense apps. Expense apps are basically designed to allow you to capture expenses and other information and get that information into a platform where it's manageable instead of being in multiple file folders on your desk. And then, of course, pushing that into QuickBooks Online or your accounting system. So we've got things like receipt capture, which is, pretty much these are the things across the board. So capturing images of receipts, whether they're cash, credit card, or debit card receipts, whatever kind of receipt they are. Expense recording, so pushing those expenses into QuickBooks Online. The account syncing is really cool, just like we have bank feeds in QuickBooks Online to automatically download the transactions and then match them to things in the books. We can sync those into some of these expense management platforms as well to make sure that if you have team members that have a company credit card, that you have a receipt to match each one of those transactions that occurred on that credit card. Some of these also allow you to manage bills. So vendor bills, if you have people in the field that are getting purchase orders or bills, they can capture those and then they can go through the expense platform and be pushed into QuickBooks Online. Reimbursable receipts are another good one. If you have contractors or employees that are paying for anything out of pocket, they can submit those to the expense platforms. And some of these even have a way for you to reimburse directly from the platform, which we'll see as we go. Some even have integrated travel management where employees can book travel, manage all of that stuff from within the platform, and keep an eye on that as it grows too. It's becoming a bigger thing. So we have our basic process down here on the bottom. The receipt gets captured in one way or another, which we'll see as we go. The app reads it all. You can manage it there, and then it pushes over to QuickBooks Online. And each one of these does that a little bit different. Okay, so who needs these apps? All kinds of people need these apps. So you can have sole proprietors that are not managing their books, where maybe they travel a lot and all they need to do is snap those expenses. Nonprofits that have teams, this is a great way to allow them to capture things that they pay out of pocket, or if you have traveling teams, that's something that we get a lot. Contractors, where you have people out in the field that are maybe buying incidental things for jobs, as well as large corporations with lots of company cards assigned to individual people. Partnerships are always great as well when you have two people that sometimes they're using the company card, sometimes they might be buying things out of pocket, and then of course salespeople that are running around everywhere. And this can be expanded to basically everyone that buys stuff could potentially be a good candidate for this. So we've got some signs here that your clients might be ready. A common sign is difficulty providing their documents for receipts or for their expenses. So if you have clients that have large amounts of uncategorized expenses, if you're doing outsourced bookkeeping, or if you're a tax preparer and they come at the end of the year and they can't figure out where the money went, that's a really great sign. People that have reimbursable expenses, like the trucking industry, if they have to have expense reports filed, anyone that does that kind of thing, if that's slowed down or bogged down, this is a great way to get that fixed. Also, if you have clients that come in with those large boxes of paper receipts and you just are sick of going through them, great way to get around dealing with that is to hook them up with one of these. So today we're looking at 3 potential solutions: Neat, Receipt Bank, and Expensify. We'll spend about 15 minutes on each one of these just demoing the platform. I believe we have a representative from each one on the line to answer any technical questions that you have. So go ahead and submit those through the questions pane as we go, and I'll try to pause at the end of each one and make sure that we get all of our questions answered. So we're going to start with Neat. And so Neat is, all of these obviously are expense management platforms. Neat also has an expanded document management platform, and they have hardware solutions. So they have their software only plan. I believe they have a desktop system and a cloud-based system. Today we're only talking about Neat Cloud, which is the SaaS-based software that lives online. And then you can also still get those scanners that go with it. So you can see here in this image 3 different types of scanners they have. They've got that cool like mobile flat one that you can kind of take around where you go. Their scanners hold different sizes of paper and receipts, which are pretty cool. So this is the only one that we're demoing today that has its own hardware that goes with it. All right, so the expenses, I think all of these are basically the same that we're looking at today. You can scan them in, you can drag and drop, you can upload them, and you can email directly into the system. So you can use this combination of things here. And let's see what we have on the next page. So here's a little layout of what their platform looks like, and we're going to be jumping into it. But what's really cool is with the mobile apps, each one of these has a mobile app for you to capture expenses on the go. This one also has that document management, which you can see on the left-hand side, which I'll show you here in a minute. We've got searching features, and then of course the OCR, where they can read. I don't remember what OCR stands for. I'm sure someone else on the line that's smarter than me does know what it stands for, but it's where the software basically can read the information off of the receipt and transfer that information into the system. So it's more fun to go in here and look at stuff. So in here, back in QuickBooks Online, here we're in the App Center. If I go over here and move to My Apps, and I'm in a demo platform, I'm not sure why these are all showing up. I just connected a bunch of apps to this today, and I might not have gone all the way through. And then you've got the 3 that we're demoing today up here on the top. So when you click on the My Apps tab, it's going to show you any apps that you have connected. So here we're in Neat. I've already logged in and set up my demo account. It was really easy. I just had to put in my name and my email address and answer a couple questions, about how I found out about Neat. Pretty simple. So I'm going to start out over here where my name is and go into my account so that I can make sure that I get my account set up the way that I want to. And here I've got my personal information. I can see my subscription, pretty easy. And then over here on the top menu, I've got this connections. So you can add these connections to different contact management systems. Not really sure how all of that works, not really what we're talking about today. Today we're going to focus on the accounting connection. So here it says I'm connected to QuickBooks. It was really easy to do. I simply just clicked on the button that said connect to QuickBooks. I was already logged in on this other tab, so it was really easy for me to choose. And let me just show you, because this will be the same. I've already connected the other two, I think. But let me show you how easy this is. Now you can connect from the app card as well when you're inside the QuickBooks Online file. Because I'm logged in with QuickBooks Online Accountant, I'm actually logging in through the app. So that's something to note if you're hooking your clients up on your end through QBOA. And you can see I just disconnected that. So I'm going to choose Larry's Landscaping and Garden Supply from my list of QuickBooks Online companies. Click this Authorize button, and it's that simple. Now this is the same type of window that will pop up if you sign up through the app card through QuickBooks Online. And then you'll just enter your information in that window. So there we go. I'm all set up. I'm connected to QuickBooks. Now I can go in here and choose how I want to reimburse employees for reimbursable expenses. Are they vendors or employees? I'm just going to leave that as employees. My default account will just be cash expenditures. Not really important at this moment. And then I've got this vendor mapping. So this is really cool. Here I've got the QuickBooks vendors that it's pulling in from QBO, and I've got my Neat vendors over here. So I can just check the box next to this and click on Map, and then I can go in here and choose which vendor I want to map, or which QuickBooks vendor I want to map this to. So I'm just going to choose this one and save. Now, because I just arbitrarily uploaded some of my receipts into Neat, these are not going to match. So here I've got this one, and maybe I need to make a, so you can see in here I don't have Gratefully Dyed listed in here. So that one's not going, I need to add that one in to QuickBooks in order for that to come over. Now I can go down here to Southwest Airlines. Not sure if I have them in here. I can search, which is pretty cool, and see that one's not in here either. So one of the things about Neat is that you need to have these vendors added in QuickBooks. So if I wanted to add, if I wanted to get my Southwest Airlines receipt in here, I'd actually have to go in here and create the vendor in QuickBooks, because that's not a two-way push. So in Neat, the vendor name will not automatically push over to QBO from Neat. So I have to add it back in, and whoops, wrong one. Just kidding, I don't want that one. And then you can go in here and type them in and see how fast that is. It's already there, and then I can map it. So as you get new vendors that don't have QuickBooks vendors, it's pretty easy to go in and add, and I find it's easiest if you just have both of these open at once. All right, so we go through here. You can do some category mapping. So it's best if when you set this up, you do the sync first. Now because like I just showed you, I have my Neat account set up and then I connected it. This is just an example of how sometimes it's better to set it up from the app card so that it pulls only that QuickBooks information in first. So I would just go through here and map everything up, and then I would be good to go. So I'm going to go over here to the left side navigation and start with this Needs Review. So this is telling me that I have one document that I've sent in that I need to look at. So when I click on that line, it's showing me the Southwest Airlines receipt, and I can zoom in. And the reason it's showing me this is it looks like it couldn't read everything on it, which makes sense because I actually don't see a price on it. So when I sent this in, I forwarded a flight confirmation that doesn't have any dollar amount. So that's why it's like, hey, I don't really know what you're doing. So I'm just going to skip that because obviously I did it wrong. I can change it to an invoice or a document so that I can move it over to a folder, or I could just delete it out if I didn't need it. So down here in my inbox, I can see any documents that I've scanned in with their hardware, anything that I've emailed in, anything that I've snapped with the app, and then there's this web import, which is, I believe they said for more higher end things where you're importing, they've got some other widget that goes with it or something. But we're not going to focus on that one today. So today I emailed all of these in. So you can see I've got some documents that I emailed that it didn't read, and then I've got some that it did. So here, if I go to Uber, I can see, all right, here's my Uber receipt. Maybe it's got my email signature on it. So here's my Uber receipt. It's pulled in my total amount. It's got my receipt date. It doesn't know how I paid, so I can choose Visa because, you know, Uber, since I don't have my accounts hooked up, so this has my personal card with the last 4 digits. And if I had that mapped where we were in the settings, it would read that and figure it out for me. But since I don't, I need to add it manually. It's already decided that that's transportation. And if I want, I can put a note in here. Let's see, it looks like I went to the San Francisco airport. So that would be for the QB Roadshow in San Francisco. And then I can click Save. And that's going to save all my info in there. Ta-da! Super easy. I can go in here and look at this. It obviously needs more information here because it doesn't have my vendor name. So if I go into this one, that's actually another page of my Uber receipt. So I don't even need that one. So I can just delete it. Boop. Delete. Move to trash. Okay, perfect. So that's how we go through those. And then we've got this cabinet here. So this is where you can add folders. They're called cabinets for document storage or whatever you'd like. So if I go in here to create, I can add a new folder, and it can be something like travel documents, and then I can move that Southwest itinerary that I accidentally emailed in thinking it was a receipt. I can put that in here if I'd like. So if I, oh, I'm not sure what that one is. Is that the one that I was looking at? Let's see. Yep, so here's that Southwest itinerary. So I can move that very easily by clicking this Move button and put that here into Travel Documents, move it over there. So it's pretty cool the amount of information that you can store in here. It's got this quick link to recently viewed, obviously whatever you've thrown away, and any saved searches. So if I go back into my from email, you can see here I've got some report features. So if I go over here and click on reports, I can search for things like I want to see all of my Uber stuff. Oh, this is my expense report. So you can have your date range here, and then I guess I need a note in. Expense reports. Oh, see, I'm in the wrong screen. I'm learning this with you guys. I'm going to select all of these, and oh, that makes my thing change. Boop. One of these folders allows me to run an expense report, but I think that since I skipped the reimbursable box, it's not going to let me do that. Yeah, here we go. Reimbursable. So I'm going to check reimbursable there and click Save. There we go. I've got that marked as reimbursable. And then I should be able to run a report in here that allows me to just look at my reimbursable reports. So, or my reimbursable expenses, excuse me. So let's try that again. Is that going to work in here? Nope. Inbox. Let's try that. Nope. Okay. So obviously, I'm not well versed enough in Neat to actually run the report. However, my very smart friends at Neat that gave me this awesome demo showed me how it works, and it's pretty fabulous. What I also like about this is you can do this. Whoops. We've got this little import button here where you can do a mass import. So if you've got folders on your desktop that you want to migrate over here, like receipt folders, you can just drop them right in. I really like that. Or of course, you can choose them from anywhere that's mapped on your computer. So that's pretty cool. All the different ways to get it in. You can shrink that down if you're working on a smaller screen, which is also awesome. It's always good to have multiple points of navigation. I'm going to close that down. Let's look at this saved search. Okay, I don't have any saved searches yet. This is my demo account here. So as of right now, Neat does not have the accountant management platform where you can manage multiple clients using Neat. I believe that they are working on it. And again, this is Neat Cloud. So let me look at our questions really quick. Optical character recognition, OCR. Thank you, Todd. You are awesome. And all of the other people that had that answer. Oh, hi, Vicki. I've got friends on the line. All right, so we've got one here. When a client takes a picture of the receipt with his phone, do any of these apps have the ability to say what it is for in case it's not obvious to the bookkeeper when looking at just the receipt? Well, they will read the information. The app will read the info off the receipt and then assign according to, I believe they use those MCC codes, I believe is what they use. But as far as what it's for, I tell my clients if it's something obscure, write on it. Because if they write a note on it and then snap it, you'll be able to see it. And then a lot of these, when you snap it, you can actually add the entire expense so they can put the note in as well. This one, can you identify customer jobs when submitting receipts? Example, a subcontractor submits his receipts for the week. Can you go into this app and identify which customer jobs the expenses apply to? Now, in this platform, I do not believe you can. Let's take a look. So here we do not have the customer job field. Let's see, show additional fields. Maybe we can add it. Project, ooh, maybe we can. No project available. So let's go in here. I'm going to test something really quick. This might be a mapping thing that I just didn't do for the sake of time today. So if we go in here to accounting, and yeah, we do not have an option here to add those in. So in Neat, it doesn't look like they pull right now. And if that's incorrect, if our Neat representative on the line could correct me, but I believe that in this platform, the customer jobs do not sync back and forth yet. We might see that with some of our other apps that we're looking at today, though. All right, so that's all that I have for our Neat demo at the moment. So let's close it out with some info here. All right, so here's some pricing info about their subscriptions. So we've got the Essentials, Premium, and Business. These are the different features that are available. Basically, you need to be on the Premium in order to have integration. And when you move up to Business, it gives you 60 credits. Now, if you have additional questions about the pricing, please check out their website if you go to cloud.neat.com or if you just go to neat.com and find the cloud information. Okay, hopefully everyone's paying attention. Here's our CPE keyword for today's webinar. It is polar bear. So take a moment and write this down. Big, snuggly polar bear who would probably be very unhappy if he was here today because it's super hot where I live. It's actually not so bad today, but it will be tomorrow. So polar bear, P-O-L-A-R, bear. Please write it down. I promise you I'm reading it. If you walked away or flipped your screen, please make sure to come back and write it down. We always get folks at the end that say that we didn't give it, but I promise, here it is, polar bear. All right, next we're going into Receipt Bank. Okay, so Receipt Bank, again, an expense management app that allows for a lot of collaboration. So what I really like about Receipt Bank, I love their accountant portal, and I love the team management. So you can have like 20 different people that all have their logins that can snap their expenses, and they all go into their individual folders that the admin can manage on their own platform. So the tiers are really cool, and I like that it's priced by the quantity of receipts managed or the quantity of documents or whatever. It's pretty cool. So here we go. Again, expenses can be scanned, emailed, uploaded, and captured with the app. I think we're all pretty much the same on that. The only difference that we have with the three we're featuring today is that Neat also has hardware. So with Receipt Bank, we just capture them in there, and they move into the system just like how we just looked at with Neat, but they do it a little bit differently. So it's way more fun to flip around in the product, right? So this is the new accountant platform that we're looking at right now. So if you are an accountant user and you log in, this is what it looks like to you. This is just my demo platform that I'm working in today. We're not really going to go over this today because it's not what we're talking about. But you can see we've got this practice management tab where you can manage the information about your business and all that, which if you were actually using it would look way cooler than this demo account that I'm in. We're going to go in here to this demo. Yay! So this is what it looks like for you to log into an actual client's account, or what it looks like for them to log in. So when you log in, it takes you right here to your inbox. Here you can see I've got some receipts, almost the same batch of receipts that I sent to the other platform that we can get connected. So we've got our account settings up here in the top right corner, which I'm going to click on. And we have our general settings here. There's so many settings in all of these to make sure that everything gets streamlined. Don't be overwhelmed by the amount of work to start out. It literally takes less than 15 minutes to get all of this set up. And the amount of automation that you achieve by setting this up properly from the beginning is amazing. So your workflow for setting up an expense app should be connect to it from QuickBooks Online, from the app card, logged in as master admin preferably. And that way it pulls all of your chart of accounts and vendor information right off the bat, so you don't end up with all this duplicate mapping stuff that you have to do like I just showed you in Neat. Okay, so if you connect directly from QBO, you won't have to do all that mapping stuff. It'll pull, it'll sync your starting point in the expense app will be your QuickBooks Online information. Way better way to do it. So here we can choose our default payment status. So receipts, I want to say, if I upload receipts, I want to say that they're not paid unless there's a payment method on the receipt. Invoices, let's just assume that they're not paid. Credit notes, we'll just assume that they're not paid. And see my little green checkbox is confirming that yes, I'm choosing that option. Good to go. We've got these. This is for when you're uploading bills. I know that it says invoices here, which is counterintuitive to our QBO lingo. But if people are uploading bills, you can set defaults for that. We've got our net stuff here. Auto categorizes on. We've got settings for new suppliers. This is how we want our accounts to show up. I like code and name. You can change this depending on whether or not you even use codes. And then, of course, archiving information. So let's go down here to integration. I believe I already connected this. Yes, I did. So again, I just push the button. I want to sync new projects and clients. So the person that asked the question about syncing customers and jobs, boom, this one does it. We've got our default settings here. Tax settings, use supplier tax rates. I don't really care about that for today's demo. Do we want to automatically publish? So we have this off so that we can review it. And then we can set up exceptions. So like if it's an ATM withdrawal, do you want to automatically post that? None of this really matters for us today because I don't think I have any of that stuff in here. But there we go. Settings are good. Moving on. So we go down here to our account details. This is just my company name, basic stuff. I have a multi-user account, blah, blah, blah. Really easy. Subscription stuff, not important for today. When we go down here to our list, this is where we can deal with our accounts and our categories. So you can turn things off. So we probably don't need these on, right? Nobody really needs to see this stuff. We might need AP. So if you have someone else that's managing it, or you're training your client, or you have an office manager at your client's office that's managing it, you can turn things off that they shouldn't be posting to, which is really cool. They probably don't need to be posting to any of these tax accounts, right? So you can help make their lives easier by closing some of these off, or even your own life if you're the one managing it, just getting all of that stuff set up. And I think this is just categories. Yes, it is on this page. All right, projects. So here we've got this project list here. So this is, looks like our class list that we have on here. So here it's called projects. The biggest thing with doing any app integration is knowing the language differences between the app and QuickBooks. So projects, I can tell here that this is my class list. We'll just leave those on. I can set some defaults there. Okay, and then here's our client list. So these are all on. Perfect. I can assign expenses to any of these. Payment methods, users, that stuff's all pretty self-explanatory. So, yep, I'm going to skip over that. So here we've got our bank accounts in here. We can just say, oh, probably not the barter account. Let's say Chase credit card. All right, cool. So if we add these 4 digits, 4690, I think that that's the only one I have on these receipts. So let's just leave it at that and see what that does for us. All right, so I'm good with my account settings. I want to go back over here to my inbox, which is where it took us when we first logged in. And I can see all of my receipts that I have in here. I can categorize these. So Unidata, let's just say these are dues and subscriptions. And it says it's not ready. So let me open this up and check it out. So I've got this receipt. I can see my image. Whoa, that's cool. See that? It zooms in automatically. Ooh, it's pretty neat. Okay, it's got my date. It's pulling in my supplier. If I want to assign it to a client, I can choose a client there. And then we've also got, it's not on here yet, but within the next couple of weeks, in addition to having categorization by account, they are adding in categorizing by item. So soon you will actually be able to itemize these receipts out and have them post these expenses with items. Now remember, in order for that functionality to work in QuickBooks Online, you need to be on the Plus level subscription or on a subscription level that will support the features that you're trying to use. So I can go in here. That's why it wasn't working, is because I didn't have a payment method. All right, and now I'm good to go. Now if I click on Publish, boom, and then I'm going to please wait. There we go. So it's been queued for publishing. I will receive an email upon completion. I love when it tells me what it's doing. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my inbox, and you can see that that one is gone now. So this one doesn't say new. I must have already looked at it. And again, these are, I believe, because I don't have my payment method on here, is why they're saying that they're not ready. But here I've got these awesome filters, which everybody likes to filter stuff. You can flag things. So if I'm like, I don't know, oops, let me close that. Getting click happy here. If I need to flag things to look at later, it's as simple as clicking on the little flag over here and it turns yellow. Pretty good. I can check these off. Let me check these off. See, when I put checkboxes next to these filters come up, or excuse me, these buttons come up, where I can add them to an expense report. So if I want to make a report of all of my expenses for a trip, and maybe I've got this Southwest Airlines and these Uber trips, and I want to add those to an expense report, I can make a new report, and I can call it something like SF trip, add, whoops, SF trip, new report. Oh, sorry. This is for my user, not for my report title. That's right. Here in Receipt Bank, your reports are going to go by user and date. So I'm going to put that in there. Add. Demoing 3 apps can be tricky, trying to remember the specifics for each one. Okay, so I just added 3 receipts to an expense report. Here's my expense report. If I click on this expense report button, it's going to give me the summary of those expenses. Ta-da! Pretty cool. Here's my details. I can add additional information here. So here in this description is where I can add something like SF trip. I can assign all of these expenses to a client and a class if I wish. I can say, okay, what did I pay these out of? So this is a nice way to be able to consolidate everything. I don't even know what's over here, advanced. Oh, it gives me my whole history. That's pretty cool. And then I can download these. I can export it to a spreadsheet, PDF, and then it's got that email thing as well. So when I open this up, let's see how pretty this is. Ooh, it's really pretty. I haven't looked at one of these yet. So you can print out this expense report. This is really cool because if you're using this to assign expenses by project, like if they're billable, you can print out this entire list of receipts, and that's pretty awesome. So I like it. We use this app for one of our clients that has teams. It's a nonprofit. They have teams all over the country, and everyone has their own little cards, and they also do reimbursable expenses. And it's cool because each person has their app where all they're doing is snapping that receipt. They have no functions that they have to perform in order to get their expenses in. And then the admin can go through stuff here. So here we've got our Not Ready for Export tab. So these are those things that we haven't yet categorized. I do have my prices in here. I need to go in and assign that payment account like we did with the other one. Now, if I had mapped it properly in my account settings, I wouldn't have to do that, but since I didn't, I do. So here, this one needs to be published. Okay, this one I did not assign an expense account for. We never use miscellaneous, but we'll use it today. This one I can publish. So when I click on publish, it's going to move it over. Oh, there we go. One item for publishing. Here, let's go back over here to our Not Ready for Export. Let's see if I can get one of these to go over. So I've got Gratefully Died. And what am I missing over here? I've got my payment method missing as usual. And there we go. Okay. Perfect. So let's go over here to suppliers. This is giving us our list of vendors from QuickBooks, basically. And if I go down here, see these chains are showing me all the ones that are in QuickBooks. But see, this one doesn't have a chain on it because it's not linked. It doesn't exist in QuickBooks. So here, if I click on this button, I think that this one will push back over. Category, da-da-da. So here you can set up your default categories for each one of these if you want. Default projects, stuff like, or classes. All right, so this one is not linked. I wish I would have put my note out. So let's see what happens if I try to push that over, if I refresh over here. And then we should be able to see in our recent transactions if we pushed anything over. So see this Cal telephone? Is that one of my new ones? I think it might be, but I can't tell. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so here we've got the information for that vendor. Like I just showed you, you can set up those standard chart of accounts. Personally, I would do that in the other view where you can see everybody all at once, and then just other information here. So you can archive your receipts over here, and you can unarchive them if you want. You can even I love that you can download these at any time. So it's not like you have to contact the vendor to produce reports for you or to export the information. You can do that yourself whenever you want. So that's pretty cool. All right, I'm going to pause for a moment and check out our questions and make sure that we've got everything answered here. All right, I'm going to read some that are actually answered. Okay, let's see. So we've got some questions about Neat where it looks like they were already answered. We've got a question about a receipt allocated to multiple clients, and it looks like we've got the option to split the transaction into multiple line items. So that's pretty cool. And then, okay, split the transaction into multiple line items and allocate each line item to a specific client. Awesome. So another question, will the receipts match downloaded bank transactions if they were paid with a debit card? So theoretically, what you would do is record these expenses here. They'll push over to QuickBooks Online, just like if you created an expense from the Quick Create tab. I'm going to close this out. So they'll just come over as expense transactions, just like if you created them through QBO. And then when that's downloaded from the bank, you'll be able to match it up. So as long as you're using proper workflow where you're sending the expenses into QuickBooks Online before you're posting from the bank, then you'll be able to match them through the Bank Feed Center with the standard process. So something to remember there is you cannot match you can't match the bank transaction with the transaction that's pushed from the expense app once it's been posted. Does that make sense? So when you push over from the expense app, it's actually creating that transaction in the books, and then you match the download, which is done through banking, and you can learn how to do in the QuickBooks Online certification training information. Okay, let's go back into our slides so we can look at pricing information. So we've got some single user plans. You can see that their pricing is by item. So it's priced by how many things you upload. So if you have 50 things, even if you've got a team with, sorry, this is a single user plan. So this is one person. We'll talk about the team one in a second. So here we go, pretty simple. You can find all this information on their website. Now with teams, what I like about this is these are, again, it's not priced by user, it's still by items. So if you have the team account and you have the $40 a month for 100 items, even if you've got 5 people on your team that are traveling all over the place, each person can be set up with their own user login to snap those receipts and get them into the platform. It's still priced by quantity of things uploaded, not by number of users. Just want to make that clear. So what's cool about having these different options is that you can choose, like, should my client have one that's priced by user? Maybe they have 2 people, but they upload 500 things every month. You probably want one that's priced by user. But if they have 20 people and they upload 200 things every month, you probably want one that's priced by items. So you can kind of make that decision depending on your client. Now, Receipt Bank has also partnered with the QuickBooks ProAdvisor program to give you extra special deals if you're a ProAdvisor. So you get a free lifetime Receipt Bank account without a client minimum. Right now, I believe their accountant platform, you have to have 3 active things on it if you're not a ProAdvisor in order for it to be free. You also get this awesome monthly discount for your clients, which I'm a big fan of. The dashboard that I showed you when we first got in, as well as their great customer service and dedicated ProAdvisor support. It looks like they have a certification and training program, which I haven't gotten into yet, but I'm sure it'll be great because everyone I know at Receipt Bank is pretty cool. So I'm sure they'll do an amazing job. All right, our last app of the day is Expensify. And here we go. Okay, so imagine that. It does all the same things that our other ones do as far as the way that information gets into the system. So you can snap with your phone, you can scan, you can sync up accounts, etc. It's got the integrated travel thing in there where you can do, you can get reminders. It's got, you can see the little slide there. We're not going to go too far into the travel thing today. If that's something that you're interested in, go ahead and contact Expensify directly, but FYI, they do have stuff in there. Now, what's really cool about Expensify, they have this one thing that kind of differentiates them, and that's that they can do reimbursements. So you can reimburse expenses directly from their system, which I think is pretty cool. So you can send an ACH payment or a PayPal payment from within Expensify to reimburse expenses. A workaround, something that you could utilize that for as well, is paying your contractors. So if you have contractors that are submitting their invoices, you can convert that to some sort of reimbursable expense and pay them via ACH. And I think that they said they have a 1 or 2 day window. I need to pull my notes out. But their motto is expense reports that don't suck. It's a pretty good motto, nice cut and dry. Some of my favorite swag attire to wear is my Burn Your Receipts shirt, and I also have a nice pile of Expensify matches in my office because I think it's super cute that they make matches that say Burn Your Receipts. But basically you can load everything in just like the other platforms. They have an accountant dashboard, single and multi-user accounts, and let's go in and look at it because that's way more fun than talking about it on slides. So here's what the platform looks like when you are logged into a single account. This is not the accountant platform, but that's okay. If you want to look at that more, again, reach out to them directly. So here we've got our list of expenses, all of our stuff up here. I'm going to go directly into the admin panel and click on this. So this is my demo account, and when I go in here to policies, this is giving me all of the setup information for my demo account, Peterson expense or whatever it is. I've got a corporate account in here and then all of my stuff to set up on the side. So again, we can set up all kinds of rules. So we've got guidelines, mileage stuff, billable time, all of those things can be tracked in here. So you can see as we've gone through these 3 apps, they're just kind of building on each other as far as more things that you can add in. We've got some reporting information here where you can just go in and set it up. There's so many settings in here. Again, it's like go through it right when you set it up and figure out what you need. So here I'm going to connect to QuickBooks Online. It says I connected. I want to configure this. I didn't do this before because I wanted you to be able to see it. Categories has to be enabled. I want to import items. So this one has items. I just told you Receipt Bank is coming out with items shortly. Expensify does have it in there already. Do you want to import your people? So do you want to pull employees in? Import tags, which in Expensify, tags are the customer job, I believe is what. So no, sorry, tags are classes. Let's just import it and figure it out. So import customer jobs or classes. Do we want to pull them both? We're going to say both for the purposes of today and save. All right, and there's our cool little flippy thing. Now it's going to sync for us. So I didn't sync this one because I wanted you guys to be able to see those different settings that we have in here. And then I'm going to do the Sync Now button just to make sure that it's pulling in all the stuff that I want to see. All right, I love their little, their replacement for the spinning blue wheel of death, their little Expensify flipboard thing. All right, so here I've got my categories. You can see we have these Expensify ones that got pulled in, and then we've got somewhere in here we have the manage by external connection. Let me go in here. So it looks like we're syncing, last synced a few seconds ago. Okay, so it should be pulling in our categories, and we'll see those when we go in. So we go in here to tags. People must tag expenses. Sure, let's turn that on. You know what? I'm wondering if I hooked this up to the wrong QuickBooks Online account, which is extremely likely considering my skill set. All right, let's go in here. We get a little click happy sometimes. So I'm going to disconnect and then reconnect it. But basically you can see, oh, I know what I did. This one was already connected to a different one. That's my problem. Okay, so you can go in here and set all this stuff up. This one, because they are super awesome at Expensify and set up my demo account for me, I didn't actually have to connect it. So they already have all of this stuff set up. When I go in here to people, it's going to allow me to set my policies for reimbursable expenses and employee submitted expenses. I've got these reimbursement settings. So again, this is where we would set up the PayPal and ACH accounts to reimburse people directly from the platform, and then miscellaneous other things here. All right, so let's go back to our expenses platform so we can check these out. I'm just going to click on one. So here you can see I've got my, what Expensify does is it takes your information and it kind of puts it all out here for you to be able to see super easy. It's already reading who my merchant is. It hasn't categorized it because I don't have my mapping set up. I don't have any tags in here, and I can add comments here, blah, blah, blah. And then I can make a rule. So I'm going to say, hey, every time I use Caltrain, let's put it on transportation. I love how easy this is. You just check a box. You don't have to go 5 clicks down. You just say, create a rule, and here's your information. Oh, for Caltrain. Here we go. And then put that in there. Save rule. And all right, closing that out. So that's pretty cool, really easy to do that. There's all my information. You move on to the next one. So when I check this box, I can choose to add it to a report. So remember how we were making expense reports? We do that super easy here. So we'll just say expense report 1, create report and add the 4, and they're just going to be moved over onto that report. Ta-da! Now let's check some more. Can I add them again? So if I click on this, ta-da, it moved all 3 over that. So see how easy it is? You can have more than one expense report going at once. So that's pretty cool. And if you have these job tags in here, you could even be making these expense reports by job and just assigning each one to a different report. Now you can export to CSV in here just like you could in Receipt Bank. And if we push this Edit Multiple button, we can assign, well, which I don't want to do because these are all different, but for the sake of showing you, let's just do that. And I think I need to put a category in. But see how it changed all of those to Kaydee Demo and Categorize? So you can sort by these different fields and change a whole bunch at once instead of having to go through one by one. Again, pretty cool. So let's go in here to Receipts and check this out. It doesn't look like I have any in here. Can I drag and drop them? So you can, when you have your, each one of these accounts has their own like email too, so you can forward directly from your email. These will just go in here. You can import. See, you've got all these different options in here. If you're an Evernote user, different ways to pull them in. And let's go in here to reports. So this is going to give us those expense reports like the one that we just made. Now you can use these for things like reimbursable receipts, billable expenses. If you just want to create reports based on jobs, you can also do additional reporting based on those jobs. And look, I can even send this to myself. I can attach it as a PDF. I'm going to send that. Oh, I don't have my email open. And then let's look at what it looks like as a PDF. Let's see how pretty this is. We'll do some pretty expense report comparisons and see who has the best one. After we wait for the little thing to spin. Okay, so let's go over here really quick while that's thinking about it. And I want to show you what I was saying earlier about connecting from the App Center. So we want to click on Apps. And my internet is really just not having it today. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, here's our expense report. We're doing 2 things at once. All right, so there's our Expensify expense report, and there's our Receipt Bank expense report. I wonder if there's a way to make this Receipt Bank thing go away and actually be your logo instead of their logo. That'd be pretty cool. We'll have to ask about that. I don't have the answer, but it'd be cool. Okay, so what's awesome about this, because we have all of those policies that you can set up, we've got this policy violations list. So if you have a rule that says anything that's the airport shuttle bus must be tagged to whatever account, this will say, this will tell you missing category. There's a bunch of other ones that they showed me in there, like anything over $20 requires a receipt, all kinds of things that you can put in there. But this is pretty cool. Uncategorized transportation breaks it all out, so you can utilize those according to your purposes. So this says, if I remember correctly, Expensify does not match checking account transactions to import them into the checking account. Does not match checking account transactions to import them into the checking account. So I think what you're saying is that when they post expenses, they don't get posted to the checking account. Is that what you're saying? I'm not sure if that's what you're saying or not. So let's go in here to our, let's see, where do I want to go? Probably here. Nope, not there. Okay, so somewhere in here I've got a button to map to the purchase account. But again, since my thing isn't synced to my demo platform, or my demo account, I'm not exactly sure where it is. So let's look. I'm not really sure where that button is. Okay, so yes, that is what you're saying. Okay, so what Vicky's asking is, does Expensify send the expenses over and actually put them as register expenses into QuickBooks Online? Now, I believe that the answer for that is yes, it does do that, but for some reason I can't find the button to do that. So let's open up one of these expenses and see if we have a payment account. So if I open this guy up right here, and I think everything gets pushed over as a report. Oh yeah, so see here, it's got this account here. So see, it's got the account that it came off of, and it's already read that. So see here, it's already mapped it to that card, Citibank card. See, I'm in this demo platform that is not my common account names that I use for my demos, so I'm trying to figure it all out here. But see, it's already read that it's this card, and it's already mapped it to that payment account. You see that? And then it should map to the payment account in, oh yeah, so here we've got our card and our bank account. So I'm assuming that this is the card that as it's listed in Expensify, and then this would be the account as it's listed in QuickBooks Online. Okay, but we can check all of that out. But that's a credit card, not a checking. It's either Expensify or Concur that doesn't do the checking account. Well, I don't know. This says credit cards. I mean, there's got to be a list in here somewhere that tells us the answer to that question that I'm just not finding. So if we have our Expensify person on the line that can answer that, I'm going to flip back to our deck really quick because we've got some other things to go over before we close out today. Now remember, if there's anything that you have additional questions about, always reach out to the vendors directly. You can get additional information from them. Make sure you ask very specific questions so you get the answers that you're looking for. Here's some information about the Expensify pricing. So this is done by user. Their $5 per user per month account also covers the sync, something that I think when we were looking at Neat, it didn't cover the sync on the lowest level. And then you can move up to corporate, $9 a user. So you also get the advanced policy management like we were looking at today, that corporate card reconciliation, and the other things obviously that are listed here. The custom ones, the enterprise ones, allow for custom integration. So if you need something like that, just know that Expensify can do it. I believe Receipt Bank can do it also, and I'm not 100% sure about Neat. Expensify has the Expensify Approved program, which is their partner program. This is how you get that awesome platform that I showed you in the beginning where you can manage multiple, oh wait, I didn't show you that. I just lied to you. Sorry about that. I didn't show you this platform in the beginning, but it does exist, and this is how you can manage multiple policies, multiple companies. So go ahead and check that out. You get that for free. You can also get the discount and revenue share and the other information listed here. So let's do a quick overview of the solutions that we looked at today. So you've got Neat with its own hardware and the additional document management stuff. We've got Receipt Bank, which I prefer for the teams, and I like how it's divided out. And we've got Expensify, whose unique thing is the direct reimbursement via ACH or PayPal, which I didn't show you that button for, or the button for that, but basically when you check the box, when you make something reimbursable, there's a place where you can just send it back out. So I'm going to put up our CPE poll here in just a second. Don't get off the line until I do. Here's a summary of today's learning objectives, the same as the beginning. Also, make sure to check out QuickBooks Connect coming up in November. The registration is now open, and I believe early bird registration ends today, maybe, or tomorrow, sometime this week. So check that out, QuickBooksConnect.com. All right, I'm putting up the CPE poll right now. So once you've entered your CPE keyword, you are free to go. But if you have additional questions, please feel free to enter those into your questions pane right now. Okay, let's see. It doesn't look like I have any, besides our unanswered question about the Expensify credit card versus bank account. I don't think we have any in here that have been left unanswered. Now remember, you will receive an email with a recording of today's webinar within, I believe, 48 hours-ish. And then you can download the slides for today's webinar, which, since most of it was demo, probably are not extremely helpful, but you can download that with the link in the chat window. All right. We have 97% voted for a CPE keyword, so if you're still on the line and haven't put that in, please go ahead and do that now. I'm going to close it out in about 1 minute. And again, thank you all for joining us today. Let's see, we've got another question coming in. Can you recommend a good app for scheduling employees and tracking time? There are a ton of them. I can recommend that you go to apps.com and look at a bunch of them. Scheduling and time tracking in one. T-Sheets is a great place to start. Everybody loves T-Sheets. We use that here. And they're pretty great. There's also a scheduling app called When I Work that is pretty cool. There's Deputy. So it really just depends on how much detail you need with that. So yeah, it looks like no one else is putting in their CPE keyword, so I'm going to go ahead and close that out. Again, thank you all for joining us today, and I hope to see you again on another apps.com or Intuit Academy webinar. Thank you all and have a great weekend.